I guess I'm B1, so I'll go ahead and lead off here. So we met to talk about harnessing community. And this is, again, the really fundamental question for us, for XR Access for the next year, of when we have people that we know care about XR accessibility, but are doing this in after their day job and their off hours. It's people who are doing it as a project of passion. How do we help them help us? How do we help them move the cause forward? And I think we ended up on a number of really useful insights in this. First of all, we talked about instead of just having asking those types of people just to do work or to like make things, we talked about having them help with information gathering, having them introduce us to and each other to networks, and finding out the people that they know that we don't know that could benefit from our help, and using that to help kind of extend the reach. I think in a similar thread, we talked about the similarities to grassroots movements, and the need to find people that are passionate about this or related topics, find that existing passion and harness it. In addition to trying to create new passion within the people that we know. We talked about having more user research to better understand the needs of our community, reviving our community needs survey that I think the last one we did was two years ago or so. So we're due for another one of those. We talked about doing having co-working sessions where we all come, and instead of having a meeting and then expecting people to go off and do make something, to just work together in the space of a meeting. To, for example, with our stories projects, coming together, reviewing all the interview footage as a group, and deciding what's the most powerful. That was really helpful. And then finally, we talked about it would be amazing if we could try to start meeting in VR, and if it's not accessible, like hack it until it is. I think that's something that we've hoped to do for a long time, and so trying to reevaluate whether that's feasible or not, and trying to find people that can help us with that, is definitely something we're going to be taking a strong look at in the year to come. So that's it for me. I'll go ahead and pass it to Sean to talk about blind AR.
Thanks, Dylan. Hi, everyone. This is Sean Dougherty from LightHouse San Francisco. I led a breakout session on blind AR. So we were discussing, we had a smaller group, but it was great. It was a very kind of tight-knit session, and we were able to do a lot of demos. But first, we talked about some of the challenges of AR as a technology for blind and low vision users. The fact that it is very visual by nature, and that there's a lot of design considerations that need to be taken into account to optimize for screen reader technologies and zoom magnification tools and accessibility features. And from there, we started getting into some of the benefits of AR, where AR can help blind and low vision individuals. So we went through a few examples of different apps that are focused on optical character recognition and wayfinding and navigation. And then we got into really the exciting part, which was the more hands-on demo. So we were looking at a few different things within Seeing AI. We were in the Scene Explore mode, and also the World View mode. We were basically capturing images of our environment, which was a desk with a bunch of objects, a laptop, an iPad, pair of Meta Ray Bans, sunglasses, business card. And we were capturing images with Seeing AI and exploring the AR functionality of moving our finger around the screen, touching objects. And because we had a small group, I was able to kind of demo it and then pass it around so everybody got their hands on it. And we basically ended up comparing that experience to other technologies. So we also worked with Be My Eyes and the Be My AI experience, where we got a very detailed description of things that we didn't even account for that were in the background. So that was pretty cool to get a direct comparison. And then we finished off with the Meta Ray Bans, capturing some images and asking Meta to describe the environment. So overall, it was an interesting discussion.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole, and Erin and I led the co-design breakout group where we chatted a little bit about some standards and best practices for co-designing products with people with disabilities. And we actually spent quite a bit of time just defining co-design, looking at sort of what are the main components of running a co-design, in particular, really figuring out how you shift the balance of power in the room, ensuring that people with disabilities have equal decision making power in design decisions, understanding how we increase the level of transparency that is shared with external co-designers in the room to ensure that everybody has the same context and the same ability to contribute and build with product teams. We also talked a little bit about. Well, actually, do you want to share? Okay. We talked a little bit about format of a co-design. Like, what format should it take? Like, when you do it in person, when you do it virtually, what are the sort of biggest components that we need to consider when you're bringing a diverse group of people together that come from all walks of life, different lived experience, expertise, etc. So we shared some best practices around bringing communities together in person, and virtually, and understanding what it takes to build trust, what it takes to really think about what it takes to build activities that enable you to actually reach tangible solutions that product teams can then take and build, and also what it takes to make sure that product teams are trained on how to show up in a co-design, to ensure that we are uh, that we're actually co-creating and not just like arriving at a space and observing co-designers. So yeah.
That was great. I think the only other thing was that we discussed a little bit about the benefits of doing one-on-one research versus the idea of having a group of people together and riffing off of each other's ideas, and lots of pros and cons to both methods.
Greg, I ran the whatever the title was. Where did it go? Universal user data. So the conundrum we were discussing has to do with human subjects research, so user studies involving people with disabilities, involving wide population, and the conundrum that some of us have been trying to think about is you can make the study inclusive of people with disabilities, but in some cases their data may look very different from everybody else's, which may make the analysis difficult, which could cause people to ignore that data because it's an outlier, or could cause other sorts of problems. So we were wrestling. What I challenged people with in the group, and it was a great group, was to think about different things we could do. So one thing is, for example, we've been thinking about for a long time is transforming some of that data to look more like the other data statistically when it's inconsequential. If we can determine that it's inconsequential, how I got from here to there, and what mattered in the study is what I did when I got there, what I looked at, what choices I made, those sorts of things, then we might be able to do that. A challenge we have in the context for this is that we don't always know what data the researchers are going to look at. So I might run a study with 500 participants, of which I don't know, some subpopulation, people with different disabilities, and I set that in a repository somewhere. A year later, someone may want to go back and look at that same data and do something with it. So I don't know now what they're going to want to look at later. So I want to make everything in that data file to be, as nice as possible. I think the last thing I realized when we were all talking together was the feedback loop or relationship between the mechanism the participants use in the study to navigate and our ability to process the data resulting from that navigation. And we really need to think about that relationship.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you to all our breakout leaders. I hope everybody had a great breakout discussion. Again, I really love having these because they're a chance for us to brainstorm and figure out things none of us knew before we came to the symposium. So I'll go ahead and let y'all take a seat. I can reclaim that microphone from you, Greg. Thank you. Now, I think we are still waiting for that paperwork to clear. We're preparing the certificates for our demo and poster winners. So I'd love to take this opportunity to ask anybody in the audience, what has been your favorite part of the symposium so far? What are you all taking away from this? What lessons have you learned? What are you excited to go home and research or try out? Let's open it up. Yes. Do we have any microphone runners or any volunteer microphone runners?
One of the things I loved most was just hearing the side conversations I had with everyone here, and the feedback I heard on Meta's products. So just the ability to chat with folks that are using your products day in, day out for running their own experiments or using them themselves as users. Yeah, I appreciate the space to sort of come together and have conversations that might not happen otherwise.
Awesome. Right behind you.
I loved a lot of things, but I learned 3 sign language words, and so that would be my highlight. Yeah,
Nice.
from you. Yeah.
You got to publish that demo so we can learn 5 words. Anybody else? Oh, we have one on the front here.
Everyone's heard my voice a lot already. I really got excited by a problem I haven't seen solved yet based on the discussions we were having, which was in virtual reality trying to provide navigational guidance descriptions. So if I'm wearing a headset and I sight impaired or some other form, I can use descriptions to guide me turn by turn virtually to some other position and not just teleport on my way there, but I have an exploratory way of taking in the whole environment.
Absolutely.
I found the happy hour to be awesome. Seriously, though, as somebody that relies on a lot of this tech, meeting so many people working in the industries so passionate about the jobs they're doing and developing and designing, it was just awesome. And also meeting so many people that are still in school looking to get into this kind of work. They're better people than I was when I was in school. So that was pretty awesome.
Awesome. I see one in the back here of or maybe one of our XR Access volunteers can help run the mics here.
I'll just say, I can take it to the next person too.
Sure.
I was just going to say, I really enjoyed going through the posters and just seeing all of the different things that people are trying and working on and wanting to do. But
Sure,
I was most excited when I was voting to realize I must have missed a room or something, because there were all these really wonderful projects I didn't get a chance to see. I must have missed them when I went through. And that feeling of realizing that there are so many people working on so many projects, trying to do so much good stuff, that you can't see it all in one pass, made me feel like that's a good place to be.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to be doing our best to try to make as many as we can of the posters and the demos available to the world at large, because it's great work and it deserves attention for sure. Was there one more before we proceed with the awards?
Oh, thank you. Luckily, I'm the last one. This is my first time here in XR Access, and I love the concept. So last time we were in the IEEE VR conference, and I was expecting some people from that conference as well. And I've seen, I've met also a lot of people here. I feel like I am connected with the community, and I'm building something that I found a really good community as well. Another thing is that we had a demo here and presentation. So anyone tried our demo, they just feel excited. It means a lot. We didn't expect that much feedback from the user. And we also received a couple of feedback from the different participants that will help us to build the future version of our game. So yeah, a lot of takeaway from this conference, and thank you so much for arranging and everything. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you
for that. Thank you.